Welcome to the Freestyle Show, and the semi-final is about to begin in a short while in Chennai in the Asian Champions Trophy, that event which is going on there. And India is going to take on Japan. Now, do remember that Japan won the Asian Games title back in 2018 in Jakarta, and after that, no event of this magnitude has been held because of the pandemic. They are the Asian team in this tournament also. I have Sandeep Mishra with me. Sandeep, what is your initial take on the India versus Japan semi-final?
I think, you can look at it in very different spaces here. That we played a group game which ended in a 1-1 draw. But understand and remember, this is a knockout match. I mean, you're playing a semi-final, the winner goes to the final, and irrespective of whatever importance you give to the Asian Champions Trophy, the end result is that a lot of formations are being worked on here. A lot of experimentation is happening, and this is exactly where Craig comes in as the Indian coach, and he would want to win this game. Understand that whatever he is doing, he takes to the Asian Games because winning the Asian Games is of huge, huge importance. But having said that, let's get into the scorelines for a bit. I think if you really look at the matches that India and Japan have played in the past, either the goals have been wide. Wide when I say 5-0, 6-0. The last Asian Games we had an 8-0 margin against Japan. We beat them 8-0. But it depends on how you start your first quarter. It depends on how many goals you can score. And now in modern hockey, the first quarter, of course, all quarters are important, but the first quarter, a lot of teams play high press. When I say high press, I mean they really go up and they try and get a couple of goals to get the other team under pressure. I think if it happens that way and the dice rolls India's way in the first quarter, where you have a 1-0 or a 2-0 probably margin, I think then you can expect a wider margin. Otherwise, I think probably this is going to be a close game.
So Sandeep, let's move on to the prediction part because the viewers want to know from you your main prediction for the India-Japan match. All things equal, who has the best chance to win, and what, according to you, would be the possible scoreline?
I think it's a 70-30 for India. It's a very straightforward thing there, not just because India has been winning all their games, I mean, except for the drawn match against Japan. But I think if you overall you look player to player, skill to skill, talent to talent, and even I don't want to get into the coach versus coach because in hockey, at least in every eighth or ninth game, the opposition coach, if you are a very superior side, he tries and gets the better of you. But I think if you just go player to player and if you go formation to formation and look at the stats and all the results, I think India is at least definitely 3 to 4 steps ahead, if not at least 8 to 10 steps.
What would the scoreline be?
Well, we tried to predict that in the first group match. We all said 4-1, 5-1. It became 1-1. But a knockout, as I said, is very different. First quarter, if we are on top, then I do predict 4-1, 5-1. Otherwise, it's a close game. But a 4-1, 5-1 score is there for India simply because we are superior. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Now, traditionally, Japan plays a pretty tight game, and we have the new coach Craig Fulton also, and he's traditionally known to put a lot of emphasis on defense. I'll come to that later. But since Japan plays a tight game, what can India do to open up the defenses, and how do you see India's strategy in this match?
I think you're going to see a lot of switching. And when I say switching, I mean in the midfield and in the striking circles of the Japanese. When you come to the midfield switching, it's between Hardik and Vivek. These are the two of your main pillars out there. The faster they switch, the more the Japanese fall back, simply because they have to go back in numbers because of the speed of the Indian centre forwards. And also, centre forwards, of course, they get field goals. But at the same time, if I just take an example of the NBA, the basketball, they kind of become assists. Where if Gurjant is in the striking circle, Mandeep is in the striking circle, Akashdeep is in the striking circle, or even Karthi is in the striking circle. If they can't get a shot at goal, they try and get a penalty corner, which also paves the way for Harmanpreet to come in and fire in those goals. I think all of that gets important. Craig will try and play a very, very tight midfield because if you play a tight midfield, which I mean attacking as well as defensive, it also tightens or probably closes the channels for Japan to come and do a counter. So expect a very, very fast first quarter between India and Japan.
Now, quite a few of the experts, including you, maintain that the ACT is also a precursor to the Asian Games, and it is an excellent dress rehearsal for a much larger exercise, a much larger event. So, from that viewpoint, what would the pressures be on India?
Pressures are in terms of results, of course. Nobody wants to lose, not especially Craig, because he's just come in as coach. He wants results. He also wants people to be positive about the team. He also wants people to be positive about himself, which is slightly, I would say, slightly sad because he's just joined. So why put him under pressure? But sport is about putting coaches, about putting players, about putting teams under pressure. And I think he would want to win this. He would want to win the Asian Champions Trophy. But at the same time, let's imagine a result where Japan wins. Let's imagine a result where we don't win the final in case we go through the final. I don't think there should be pressure on the coach. There should be any pressure on the team because that's putting it the wrong way. Because at the end of the day, he's also trying to form a team, and the team is to win the Asian Games. That's the particular aim. You win the Asian Games, you go directly to the Olympic Games in Paris. And I'll just take one more minute on this. Also had a I also had a chat with Rehan Butt today, and like he was very clear. He says there's a lot of positives that Pakistan has taken, even though they finished fifth. They beat China today for fifth, sixth. It was in a way disappointment for them that they couldn't go to the semis. But he says हमने बहुत कुछ सीख लिया यहाँ से हमको मालूम पड़ गया कि क्या फॉर्मेशन खेलना है क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है and that is the way we will do the Asian Games. We'll try and make up for whatever we did here, try and improve, try and get the boys going and somehow go and get a positive result in the Asian Games. And I think that's the way India is also going to look at it.
Okay. You had a pretty interesting chat, I believe, with Dilip Tirki, who is basically who played as a fullback for almost 10 years for India, was skipper of the Indian team, and now holds a very important position in the Hockey Federation of India. Now, what are his views on Craig Fulton, coach? Also, the fact that they have both played at a point in time, but now they are on the same side, and also the fact about India's defense strategy being weaker. What does he have to say? And what is the kind of conversation
No,
you
I
have?
think he's very open about it in the sense that he does believe that what Craig is saying carries a lot of weight with him because at the end of the day, you have to realize that he's been fullback for a decade. He understands where the deficiencies were when he was playing and when he was captain in 2004. And I think when Craig comes and says that I want a very solid and a very compact defense, understand that good defenses, good solid defenses take you to the podium. You may have great forwards, but if your defense is not solid and you keep conceding goals, then how many goals you score up front, it's not going to make a difference. So in that way, I think Dilip probably was completely agreeable to the fact that yes, I do believe what Craig is saying, and I buy into it, which is very important because you need a Hockey India president who's been a fullback to buy into what his coach is doing.
Okay. Sandeep, also a quick one on the current match which is going on, the first semi-final between Malaysia and Korea, and I believe Malaysia has been leading up to now. But forget that. Whom do you think India would prefer to play if they reach the finals?
Come again, I couldn't get the question.
Now, I'm asking you about the second semi-final which is going on between Malaysia and Korea. Whom would India like to face if they reach the finals?
No, that's a tough one. I mean, Korea is a very solid side. Korea plays beautiful hockey. Of course, there's always been said that they're aging side. They said it before the last World Cup. Korea went to the quarterfinals. We couldn't, even though we had a better side, probably. But looking at the match that they are playing now, Malaysia was leading 4-2. I think India would probably try and look at it from a different view. India Malaysia matches have been very fast, very pacey. And Malaysia has always had this thing about beating India. It's always been a bugbear for us. But Korea will still stand a chance simply because over 4 quarters, you might see that the Koreans probably by the time it's the fourth quarter will probably start getting tired. But in the end, when you play a knockout, when you play a final, if you ask the coach choose a team, he'll say, "Give me anyone. For me, my job is to win. My job is to go there and see that I put my best team forward and I ensure that they win."
Okay, and before we wind up, you have news about the penalty corner trials, and what is that?
No, there were these penalty corner trials that were supposed to be held over the next 1 year for the simple reason that it was supposed to be dangerous. But I think today Tayyab had a chat with the media on the sidelines and he said that they're abandoning the trials, which actually means that the rules that are there at the moment will carry on. There will not be any changes, there will not be any trial, and whatever penalty corners we see right now, they're going to be going with that as simple with whatever they have at the moment of time. Nothing is going to be changed.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, Sandeep. Thanks for joining in. And for the viewers, let me just recap. Sandeep Mishra, sport editor and the expert on hockey, has predicted that India should be able to beat Japan in the second semi-final. And while the current one is going on between Malaysia and Korea, it would be interesting to see who wins. And also, the important point is that India, where its own match is concerned, where its own defense is concerned, it is going for a completely revamped strategy under coach Greg Fulton. So that's it. Good bye and good luck to both the teams, and we'll enjoy the match as soon as it begins in a short while.
Thank you so much.